Hello, this is Dr. Peter Swanz with Vital Force Naturopathy and drswanz.com. So I wanted to make a video to follow up on my positive COVID test from back in November. It was on November 9th that I had the initial PCR test that was positive. I was symptomatic. My infection only lasted a few days. I quarantined for 12 days and then was, back at it. I had my antibodies tested towards the beginning of December, 30 days after my initial test. Those were positive. And then this week on March 9th, I had another blood draw to retest my antibodies, and they continue to be positive. So that's 4 months after the initial infection. So I think that's a really good sign that, immunity after infection is lasting. And I feel very confident that there's almost no chance that I can catch COVID again or pass it on to anybody else. So I'm really excited about that. And I just wanted to share that information. I continue to believe that somebody that has had and recovered from COVID and has the antibodies has absolutely no need for a vaccine. There's no other illness that we vaccinate post acquiring the illness and recovering from it. There just isn't one. So it doesn't make any sense to do that. I am not opposed to the COVID vaccine overall. In fact, I had a vaccine yesterday. I got a tetanus shot because I was bit by a dog on my hand. Now, this looks more like a prairie dog bite than an actual canine, but it was a canine and it broke the skin. And so I got a tetanus shot because I was probably due to have a booster, and I'm taking antibiotics for the next 10 days because that's the appropriate thing to do with a dog bite that breaks the skin. So I am not opposed to conventional medicine. I'm not opposed to vaccines. When they're effective, when they're safe. I am not opposed to the pharmaceutical approach when necessary. My mom had a COVID shot, her second shot of the Pfizer vaccine this week on the same day that I tested my antibodies. Now, my mom did not have any positive COVID tests. She has not had the antibodies, so she was not exposed at any point. She didn't have immunity, and she and her fiance both wanted to get the vaccine. I totally support that decision. And the good news is my mom is really healthy. She takes absolutely no pharmaceutical meds of any kind. She doesn't have issues with blood pressure, cholesterol, blood sugars, and she was fine after the second shot. She said she woke up in the middle of the night, had a little bit of a headache, and that's been it. And her fiance as well. So they're both really healthy, and I think that's good. So I just wanted to share that information to let everybody know that the immunity after a naturally acquired COVID infection is lasting at least 4 months for me. I'm going to check again in 3 months because Kentucky is allowing you to do free antibody testing every 3 months. And I would encourage people that have gotten the vaccine that did not have COVID to get their antibodies tested, a month or two after administration of the vaccine. Let's see what the vaccine is doing in the individual. The way, before the COVID vaccine, the way we measured efficacy of the vaccine was in the stimulation of an antibody response. Now, that's not what we did to bring the COVID vaccine to market. Instead, they measured it based on cases of COVID in the vaccinated population. So it's just a different approach, and that was something that they did as part of the push for the emergency use authorization. So we need to know how it's working in individuals, and we're going to get that data as individuals go and test their own antibody status after the vaccine. So I encourage you to do that. Please feel free to share it with me. I also want to let you know coming up in a couple weeks on Wednesday, March 24th, I'm going to be doing a webinar about the immune system, hormones, inflammation, and just overall health. I haven't posted it yet on my website, but if you go check out my website, drswanz.com, DRSWANZ.com, you'll be able to find a link there in a week or so to register for that webinar. It's going to be a great time, and I look forward to sharing some more information about holistic health and wellness with everyone. As always, thanks so much for watching. Peace, love, health, always. Take care.